Hello and welcome back to my channel. Just a big thank you to everyone for being here, and a big thank you to everyone who's been supporting me so far on this journey, this wild journey of an awakening, the biggest one yet, the biggest dark night of the soul. So yeah, it's tough, it's challenging, I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, do the healing work, but it's, there's ups and downs with it. And it is supposed to be challenging, I guess, is where the learning and the growth comes from, the elevation. You're battling the shadow aspect of you, where I guess dark gets transmuted to light. But yeah, so anyway, sorry, I just went off a bit off track there. So yeah, no, thank you for everyone to being here and supporting me. Just a reminder that these videos that I'm doing are really just where I'm at in my journey as I guess challenge and question things, and it's really just my perspective. They're not particularly based in truth and facts, although there will be some truth and facts that I guess come through or come into the videos. I will leave that to your discernment and research, rather than saying, "Oh, this is a fact and that is a fact." I'll just gonna kind of free flow it, and hopefully you'll know by certain things I say whether it's fact or not. Okay, so I just wanted to put that disclaimer there. So yeah, today's video, I'm gonna just briefly, I guess, touch on COVID. It's a subject that's been covered by many over the however many years. So there's a lot out there on it. I'm not going to be speaking like really bad or negative, I suppose. I'm just going to share a perspective, and a lot of people might already see and know what I'm going to share anyway, but I'm going to share it. So for me, COVID was a big distraction, and a lot of people have already spoken, saying it's a distraction. And for me, the distraction, it was really about the vaccine. That's what I feel like the agenda was all about, the vaccine, rather than the whole story distraction on COVID. And yeah, really the vaccine and what's in it, what they put in it, and how is it being used? Was it being used for? Is there even anything in it? Because that will still be speculation, and I guess testament of fears, people's worries, doubts and fears. I know they're giving this vaccine, it's got this and that in it, it's doing this and that. Could it have just been like a placebo? So, that's something to consider. I'm not, my initial video wasn't supposed to be about that, but I thought I'd just add that in there. Could it actually be a placebo to see what we do with the information and how we go about it and what we create, and how, I guess, fear and fearmongers being used. But let me backtrack a little bit anyway. So I watched a video which I found quite interesting by Dr. Yakai, Raphael Elohim, I think it's pronounced. I'll leave a link to his page in the description box below. He's all things healing. He's in the States. He's got his own lab, so he does his own testing, and bloods and analysis. He does quite a lot himself. So for me, that is a trusted source of information, but it might not be for everyone, and that's okay. But so all things healing, definitely check him out. He's got a lot of knowledge, and it has been very helpful for me on my healing journey, in terms of what I've learned. So yeah, check him out. But yeah, no, so he published, well, I say published, he might have published it. I'm yet to get his book. He done a video saying that viruses are they kind of come from within, so they're not external. He plus other people say that anything coming external is a biological weapon. So I find this quite interesting, and he goes on to mention that the viruses are created within us that actually kickstart a detoxification, which is where we get your cold and flu, we get the temperature, fever, which forces us to sweat, which we know that the skin is the largest organ on the body, and the quickest way, or one of the quickest ways, should I say, is getting toxins out of the body is to push it up through the skin and come out in the way of sweat. And that the potentially, don't quote me 100% on this, you know, maybe watch the videos. So potentially that the viruses are there to essentially, I'm going to go off a bit off topic, but essentially they're to help us. So the viruses created within kickstarts a detoxification process, what we call a symptom of like an illness, ailment, or disease, which is something I find interesting with him as well. You know, he's saying a lot of these ailments and symptoms are nothing but our body's natural detoxification, and our body signaling to us that something's going on and wants our attention. And if we help by using, I guess, herbs and fruits and the foods, we can help heal the body that way, as opposed to medicating and big pharma kind of thing. So yeah, he said that, and that was quite interesting. So if that is true, then that's actually quite clever. If our body's actually something that's happening naturally, you know, triggering a detoxification, which is pulling toxins and any, I guess, viruses or pathogens and bacteria, killing them off with the temperature, allowing them to go into our lymphatic system and then come out in the way of urine, are also sweating the toxins out. It's actually quite clever as a species. So he also mentions that we don't catch the virus from someone else. We trigger their system into going into a detoxification process. So that's actually, as a species, I feel, if there's any truth to that, actually quite smart. So now we're actually helping each other heal by triggering each other's natural detoxification system process, which is, I feel, quite smart and clever as a species. So that just, you know, that led me thinking, well, if that is the case, then how, if it wasn't a external thing, which would be what some people are saying, a biological weapon, then how did that come about? If it wasn't, then I guess the fear around it and the thoughts and beliefs may have been enough for people to start to get the detoxification symptoms in terms of the COVID virus, and then triggering other people to have the detoxification symptoms of COVID. And I'm speaking about this, and I know a lot of people have, you know, experienced a lot from it in trauma and health, and, you know, some have died. So, you know, condolences go out to you and your families and that. And I know what I'm saying might contradict what we've been told. So I am aware of that, and it's not to say that what I'm saying is true and that everything else is a lie. It's just another perspective. So I mean no disrespect or offense. So yeah, what I'm saying is, what if we could think ourselves into being sick in terms of cold and flu? We know we have a flu virus and people get the flu jabs every year, and every year that strain does, what's the word I'm looking for? I want to say morph, but it's the wrong word. In terms of species, viruses, bacteria, in order for them to survive, they'll need to adapt and change to be able to survive in the host. Because if we build immunity to it, then we can manage it, deal with it, and get rid of it, so it won't survive. So every year the strains are changing, they are changing and evolving as we get immunity to it. In theory, okay, I don't want to say that's for fact. You know, do your own research by all means. So yes, they could have just said, okay, it's this strain, blah, 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 but that could have just been a mutated version of a strain anyway. And with what they've done and the way they put it out there to the world, created a lot of fear around that. And when we start to really understand or understand fear and the effect it can have on us, it can be detrimental to our health. You know, fear can put us into shutdown, and shutdown really just means that the organism is just gone into basic survival, and the organism is operating enough to keep itself alive. So we're talking things about heart rate dropping, breathing becoming very weak or very shallow. So yeah, fear alone can actually, you know, put you into shutdown, stop you in your tracks. And with that, it will massively have an effect on our guts and on our immune system, essentially massively weakening our defenses and encouraging, I'll say encouraging, but as it massively weakens our natural defenses and our immune system, it leaves us vulnerable then to all kinds of increased risk of health problems and or issues, shall I say. That is fact, and if you do your research on stress and trauma, you would find all the information you need around that. And I'm using the word fear because it is a thing, but when it comes in terms of let's say an emotion, it has a massive impact on the human organism. So what I'm saying is, what if it was just a mutated strain and they used fear to weaken our natural defenses, and as a result of that, we got ill with COVID. I had COVID 3 times and it was awful, I'm not going to lie. But I got through it, and it did feel like a stronger, heavier version of the flu that I've experienced before. And it did feel like it beat me up, I'm not going to lie. But when we look at the world and where we was collectively in a state of panic and fear and chaos, all that's happening, that's going on, what's to say, that's happening or going on with us, even if we're not fully consciously aware, it's what's going on the inside that could contributed to the effects of COVID feeling the way it did, potentially. Remember, this is potential, I'm not saying this is fact. So what I'm saying is, COVID was a strain of the influenza, which is the flu virus, and every year we know it changes or it mutates. That could have just been what happened, and they used that with fear-mongering to put us in a state that we was in, shut down the world, to essentially get compliance. Look at what they've done. If you don't have the vaccine, you can't go on holiday, you can't do this, you can't do that. And then there was even talks of barcodes and things coming out after that. And in theory, they only needed a certain percentage of the population to take the vaccine, as whatever trials they were doing, or whatever it was that they were doing, which happened. And then they kind of let go of the bans and things like that, and we kind of got back to somewhat normal. There's a lot of people this year whistleblowing in terms of the vaccines and the companies and organizations, and we know people did profit massively off that, off of the vaccines, and a lot of people did experience some health problems and issues and that. But I guess what I'm saying is they're using fear-mongering, which essentially is appeasement to gain control. And when we are fearful or in fear of anything, we actually give away our power, which then initially enables us. It puts us in a situation where we will naturally roll over and kind of just comply and do what's being asked. Appeasement, they say they used appeasement, and it is happening anyway as we know it. They've been using fear-mongering for a long time, which is a form of the appeasement. which essentially then, using fear in the way they used it, could they potentially be actually, or could they have actually potentially weaponized emotion? And that's quite scary when you think about it in that way, you know, weaponizing emotion. And emotion really is just energy, emotion. They all carry different densities in terms of vibrations and frequencies. Fear is a very low, very low one. If you think about maybe when you're, say, anxious, which is a lighter variation of something that resides lower, which is fear. And then when you're joyful, you know, think of the two actual states you're in, physically, mentally, emotionally, energetically. That will give you an idea and variation of the densities and the lower vibration to the higher vibration. So yeah, that's kind of all I wanted to share with you today, is that potentially, well, appeasement's being used, maybe weaponizing emotion to get compliance for what? Maybe it was a precursor of something else that's happening or coming, maybe the so-called mark of the beast. It could be a way of them actually just showing us, saying, hey, this is what's to come, you know, let's start getting used to it, and let's roll out these things. Global pandemics. Sorry for the change of clothes. I just missed something out of the video and I just wanted to add it in before I upload it, so hence the change of clothes, and the lighting is a bit different. But what I missed out was saying that, me personally, I feel that they had that vaccine like ready to go. It was there like almost instantly. Okay, there was a bit of delay. You know, they had to put on the facade of of shutting down the world and saying, oh, there's this virus, it's dangerous, you know, etc. And here's a vaccine, like not long after. Which is, you know, it was all up. Me personally, I feel it. The purpose, which is the purpose of this video, is to be all about the vaccine. And if that is the case, then, you know, where are they getting this from? Where have they been? What have they been doing? You know, are they actually testing, doing genetics, modifying GMO? You know, where they're getting GMO from, and Bill Gates and April, are they doing human studies and human tests? Are there labs all over the world, pop-up ones here and there, underground government facilities? Like, you know, what's going on? What are they doing? And why are they doing it? And is this something that, in terms of these tests, if you've heard or listened to or watched people's abduction stories, they speak of things quite similar to being tested on, being probed, and potential DNA modification or genetic modification in their cases. And yeah, okay, this is getting a bit into the, you know, deeper into the conspiracy, but, you know, it's worth touching on. You know, what is actually going on? What is the truth? What if they had that vaccine ready to go? What was it? What's in it? And where did they get it from? Which means it was, you know, if that is the case, it's premeditated, and yes, it was part of a plan. But also, I mentioned, you know, the alien abductions. Who knows what they're doing with those? And if that, you know, people have reported it, there's the thing. I know it's conspiracy, but what else? Where are they getting these? Where are they doing? Where are they conducting these tests? If it is a thing and it's happening, you know, what is going on there? Are they using human beings? Or are they lying to us and taking our bloods when we get our blood tests done and saying they're going to get burned or destroyed, and actually being taken to use for cloning and these DNA modifications or genetic modifications? Like, who actually knows? You know, they say they go off to these infirmaries, but, you know, some might get destroyed, some might not. Who actually knows, right? Conspiracy there, I know. But yeah, no, I just thought it was worth adding that in. And yeah, these underground facilities, labs across the world, Epstein Island, you know, what's really going on? Could it be a thing? Could it be happening? so-called MK Ultra that was supposed to be shut down in, I think, 73. Did they really shut it down, or did they just go underground and continue and hide it? Who knows? But also, this is going to contradict everything I've just said, and that's okay. Let's be open to the idea of this too. Why not? What if it was just a placebo? What if it was, let's just do this experiment to see what happens? And there's been a lot of talk of placebos over the years and the effect it can have on us if we believe something. I guess, well, just belief in general. We believe it's strong enough, or we believe it enough, it can be a thing. So what if it wasn't just a placebo experiment? And if that was the case, then I guess that's testament to show the power of the mind, or what the mind can actually do. How easy it is to use appeasement to generate fear, and what fear could do in terms of our biology and chemistry, physiology. What effects does it actually have in terms of emotions? And remember, emotion is just energy. Emotion, when we go into a fear state, here's an issue, they're giving us a problem, and they're giving us a solution, or giving us the virus with the fear, but here you go, we've got the vaccine, which could just be placebo. And I mean, it's arguable, questionable with everything that happened in COVID, the profits, the control, shutting down the world, can't go on holiday, can't do this, can't do that. And like I did mention, it potentially was an indicator, or a way of implementing or showing us what is yet to come. There's talks of the new, well, I say new, it's not new, but talks of the digital ID, which is quite scary, but interesting at the same time. And I'll do another video on that just to share some thoughts, some perspective on that too. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to share you today. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please give it a like, please subscribe and share. Feel free to leave a comment, and I guess I will see you in the next video. Before I go though, just going to come back and touch back on what I said at the beginning with in terms of Dr. Yaki saying that the virus could potentially be a detoxification process. I'm saying process because I can't think of the word I'm looking for. But yeah, if that's smart, well, if that is true, then that is very smart as a species. Then if we do want to detox, can we do that? Can we think ourselves to be sick in terms of the flu, which is going to cause that virus, or the virus to take place? Take place. I'm struggling for the right word there. To happen, that process to happen, we then trigger us to go into a full body detox, because essentially that's what's happening. We get the cold or the flu, we get the temperature, we start to sweat, we let it happen naturally and organically, and it's actually potentially quite a quick way of getting a full body detox in terms of healing. I know nobody really wants to feel that or get sick, but what if it can help? It's happening naturally anyway. So if it's happening naturally, can we get more conscious about it? And could it be beneficial to use it in that way? Is what I'm saying around that. There may be other ways of doing it, We'll explore that maybe in a later video. So yes, thank you very much for listening to me, and I hope you've enjoyed this video. I actually enjoyed it more than I thought I would. And yeah, I guess I'll see you in the next video. Have a great day.